From Southern California, it's the Holy Duffer Podcast, brought to you by your favorite Duffer McShankers, Mark and Strolan. Welcome to the show.
Hello, and welcome to the Holy Duffer Podcast. Today, we're going to go over some fun things and how you could learn a lot from John Wayne about golf. We're also going to dive into our personal journeys and what we've been up to. But before I get too far down the fairway, let's introduce Strolan. Buddy, how you doing today?
Mark, I am fantastic. It's a freaking great night, beautiful weather, and we have a great topic, and I'm really looking forward to talking about it. And we've actually touched on this topic in the past. I forgot to look up the episode. I was going to do it, darn it. But it was an episode where we talked about our thoughts on coaching. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of did a deep dive on it and really brought some interesting information to the table that's going to really expand on the topic. This piece is going to be, this whole podcast, when we get to the meat of it, it's going to be centered around some really good articles that Mark has been putting out there on our website, holyduffer.com. You really should check it out. He's put up a lot of content over the last month or so. But the last article, Swing of It All, really goes into coaching and, finding a good coach and what is good coaching. So I just wanted to throw you some flowers, Mark, that you did a really good
Nice.
job. I kind of ended up, I didn't realize there were so many articles. I didn't even know. I read through, I think, 2 or 3 of the 4 or 5 you put up. And they're all great. But we're just going to touch on the one about coaching in particular today.
Yeah, they're all, so all the stuff that I've been kind of doing is stuff that I don't think is really highlighted. I don't think it's necessarily out there in a concise way. The information is, but it's not kind of brought together. And it's also stuff I would have loved to have known before, all these things, and it's all research. It's all things that I think makes it easier to get better faster. That's the whole kind of a little bit the underlying premise of this whole project is to bring different resources to golfers so that they can get better. As we try to do the same thing, we want to share that, and that's always been kind of our goal.
Exactly.
Besides bitching about the USGA and stupid things like rollbacks, we'll get on
dick
a tear
jokes.
on that and dick jokes, because hey, life is life. You gotta have them. But it's about getting better, and that was the whole point of this. We just felt there was a void of people not really talking about that and sharing what they're doing. So that's kind of where those articles are, and they're all meant to if you take this chunk of information, you should improve because it's this will help you. It's coming up. We're going to do some breakdowns of those because some of them are a little technical. So I think some video things would be really helpful to go over it and kind of go by piece. And we're going to do some content about that as well. So if you just are a visual learner, which a lot of us are, reading it doesn't help. But having someone go out and go, okay, here is how this works. And this is what we're talking about, I think would be helpful too. And we're going to do that as well. That's going to start happening in the next couple of weeks.
I thought reading through, the articles, I was like, this is the perfect content for the guy that after he hit that shot where he was like, oh, I want to play this game. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then it does get a little technical and nerdy, which is fine. For me, I digested it, loved it. But I think, it would speak volumes if there was a predicate or a preface to it, that says, hey, look at this is where you need to start. And so when me and Mark first started this conversation about this topic, really it was about wouldn't it be interesting if someone came up to you and said, okay, you're interested in playing golf. Well, why don't we do a little research first? Why don't we see what you're getting into before you walk, out to the course or go out to the driving range and try to just figure it out? Mm-hmm. The analogy Mark made about the Hondo and the John Wayne movie is just so fucking awesome because basically if you watch this clip that we found, we we just related to it. It's like, yeah, that's the way you should be taught golf, because it's basically the 6-year-old kid that couldn't swim who was fishing by the creek, and John Wayne's like, what do you mean you can't swim? He goes, I don't know how to swim. And John Wayne picks him up, and he doesn't just like throw him into the water. He grabs him and like does a full barrel toss. Like, I mean, he hucks this kid. It's so fucking sick. Awesome. And basically his mom comes running up like, oh my God, what if he drowns? What if he drowns? He goes, he'll figure it out. And it's like, maybe we should be approaching golf a little more like that. And a lot of what Mark has written in these articles, especially this, like I said, the Swing of It All, the most recent one that we're going to touch on as we go along, is exactly that. It's like, what is a better way to learn how to play the game? So setting that all up, I have to ask you, what have you been up this week in golf, Mark?
Yeah, so not a lot of golf, although I teased it in the article that I'm putting together a plan for myself based on all this, and I will share that. And it's some really interesting research on, it has to do with follow-throughs. So what's really interesting.
So interesting you say that. This is going to be a great conversation.
Yeah.
I love this. Go.
So here's the thing. If you look at golf swings, which I think we all do because we're trying to get better, you will see all kinds of different backswings. But honestly, there aren't that many different follow-throughs for the same shot shape. If someone's hitting a draw, most golfers at an elite level look very similar. They may not look on the backswing, but they look very similar through. Same with the cut, same with, covering. All these things are very, easily, you can look at, if you're know what you're looking for, you can see, oh, that's a draw. That was a draw swing. Or that was
I got you.
A cutoff,
draw,
right?
Follow through, yeah.
Right, all these things. So it makes sense from all this research that you would start at the end point, like where where you want to be. And you get that follow through and go, okay, this is where I'm going. And you really ingrain it. And then you put together, reverse chain something back from that. And I did that. And I got to tell you, I haven't hit the ball that solid, I think, in ever. And it was like 30 minutes on the range. And suddenly it was a different world. It was, as a proof of concept for what I'm putting down. I'm like, all right, I did all this research. I want to actually do it. So I've been doing that. But as an kind of a thing to say about this concept, because you and I talked about, no one teaches, how to throw a ball or hit a baseball or ride a bike like this. No one does this. Throw a Frisbee. I thought you liked that one, by the way. And
these are all things that Mark has talked about in his article, by the way.
Yes, by the way, I have.
He's just not coming out. He's not like some type of savant. It's just, this is coming off the top of my head. He wrote this article. It took him like 4 weeks to write it.
Yeah, it took a little time. But so my nephews are going to Hungarian work camp or Hungarian Scouts or something.
Hungarian.
And so
hold on. Stop. Stop the bus right here. Hungarian slave camp?
No, it's
Hungarian
Hungarian Scouts. I make fun of it because they're gonna have no technology, and they're gonna go out and do Scout stuff. And I'm like,
my question. Hold on.
Yes, go ahead.
All right. So we work at a market that famously for years sold Hungarian bacon. We can't get that bacon anymore, but we get their version of the Boy Scouts now.
Yeah, apparently there has been a Hungarian Boy Scouts since the early 1900s in America. It's a real thing.
I am just mystified.
It's awesome.
I need to know more. I mean,
I know.
What do they do?
They do many Hungarian things. You have to be Hungarian to know these things. I will say I did write them notes with a bunch of Hungarian fart jokes. I did do that. So anyway, we're having this. We're having this.
All of a sudden, we just derailed.
I know.
Can they get us some Hungarian bacon while they're there?
I will ask. Okay. So now we go bowling as part of a birthday celebration, and I bowled maybe 3 or 4 or 5 times in my life. I don't think I've picked up a bowling ball in maybe 10 years. But I go there. I'm like, at first, I'm like, okay, I don't know kind of what I'm doing. But no one goes, okay, here's what a bowling backswing looks like. get to this position. No one does positions to me. I just look and I go, okay, I get it.
Probably break your arm if you tried.
Right. And right, because it's heavy, but still, no one does this shit. And then I go, okay, I kind of remember this. And then I started throwing it, and it was like, okay, that didn't go where I wanted to. And I was kind of doing differential work, figuring out where it would go. And by the end, I was like, I shot the best score of the group. It wasn't a great bowling group, to be honest, but I got better. I know, I'm not even that. No. I broke 100. Broke 100.
Really? I usually bowl between like 180 and 225.
Well, you're an amazing athlete, and God bless you.
No, I'm not. I'm fucking a chuckle fuck.
I know, but I'm worse. Like
Hey.
I've never, like I rarely. Yes, I mean, I look. I thought my job here was to agree with you. So, so I do this, and I'm thinking about like how we get taught everything else except golf. I'm like, that is the stupidest way to teach anything I've ever fucking heard in my life. Once you kind of get on the other side of it. So that was fun. Like that was like golf. It ingrained my thoughts even deeper. So I'm really, I'm on this train. I think it's the right way to go.
So
that's what I'm
bowling
doing.
Or bowling golf.
Well,
we're going to bowl our way to golf.
We're going to bowl our way to golf. We are.
Perfect. I love it. That's awesome, dude.
Because I mean,
tell you what, it's just a throwing motion, and that's more of the same thing.
It's a weight transfer. It's like things do have to be. Everyone kind of looks the same when they're bowling well. There's differences, but they all kind of look the same. So anyway, that's what I've been doing, which is not much, but it's been hot as all hell this week, by the way.
Yeah, I don't blame you for going bowling for your this week in golf because it's air conditioned.
That was a big sell.
Yeah, there's not much air conditioning on the golf course these days.
No.
So I have it this week in golf, brief one.
Oh, cool.
And it will lead right into the further conversation because you're going to jump all over this. But before I get there, I'm going to do a free plug for the app I've been using with GS Pro on my iPad. So I know we have tens of listeners out there, Mark. Tens. Yeah.
And maybe 15s of listeners.
Upwards of more than 50.
Which is, I'm going to say, mildly impressive that you guys actually pay attention to us. Thank you.
I know. People actually watch the video on YouTube, which is amazing to me.
That is amazing.
Maybe they like looking at my fish tank.
Or my randomness of my environment, which is, like
they're just waiting for the dog to show up. Just wait.
Well, everyone's waiting for the dog to show up.
I know. She'll show up. She'll come eventually.
Sure.
But no, it's an iPad app called Touch Caddy, and it works with GS Pro. And if you're using GS Pro like I am, so it's for you GS Pro users out there. Maybe I'll flash a picture of my setup on the screen right now so you can kind of see what it does. I had a video too. Maybe I'll find that and do some actual editing production. But it's really, really cool. Basically, if you use it, you don't have to like touch your keyboard or mouse ever when you're using your PC out in your sim. It's literally, I have mine on a tripod, iPad right there, and all the functions are touch key, flyovers, mulligans, moving the tee, changing the target, turn on the heat maps, and then it even has a mouse pad. So Touch Caddy for GS Pro users. If you have an iPad and you're using a PC, there's my ad for that. And then
sweet.
Yeah, a little ad there. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Touch Caddy.
Touch yourself. I think the tagline is "Touch yourself with Touch Caddy."
Yeah, touch your course with Touch Caddy.
Touch your balls with Touch Caddy.
Move your balls, point your balls, drop your balls.
I'm just saying we could do this all day. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Scrotum jokes are good as penis jokes, I guess. So, anyways, my next thing is I'm kind of excited. Me and Lucas are playing Chino Creek El Prado course tomorrow.
Nice.
Yes, and did I tell you about how they've kind of like rebranded and another company's running it and they're fixing the course up and they put a restaurant and bar in and all this?
No, actually, I don't.
That's why we're going
there.
I want to check it out. So, Chino down in Chino Hills, down by the Prado Dam, which is repainted their 200-year anniversary dam mural, which looks fucking awesome since they redid it because it was all faded. They did it in '76 and it was totally faded. And 2 years ago, they totally redid it. So down at the El Prado Dam, there's two courses down there: Chino Creek, Butterfield Sage, and you can play them for like $40.
Awesome.
So we're playing them tomorrow. and I'm super excited because they've fixed up the range, fixed up the course, and it's a funky layout. I've always liked it, but it's also one of the few places I've gone and played, and some dude that played with us was wearing a tank top and had his baby with him.
As you do, as you do.
I mean, I'm a big wear what you like guy when it comes to golf, but armpit hair it just doesn't do it for me, Mark.
So you're saying no to the white beaters?
Yeah, no. So
okay,
and the guy left after like 8 holes. He just left. Thank God.
Someone's got to beat the wife.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's all right. Maybe he's trying to catch the boyfriend doing it at home.
Right, timing.
Oh my God. And then, okay, my last thing, and we'll get into our conversation about coaching, and how a lot of Mark's article is really very much a must read. A little technical, a little nerdy, but definitely look at it. But the links that you included in it were impressive because everything he refers to, he links to. And you can link, if you want to go look at Adam Young's website and what he's about, when he talks about Adam Young, you can click and do that. So it's a little bit of a rabbit hole of an article. So take your time going through it, guys, but it's very, very good. So this week at work, Andrew's going on a 9-day vacation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he left yesterday. So he came up to me on Friday. And he was like, hey, man, he goes, what are you doing a week from Monday? A week from Monday, so I'm usually off. He goes, that's the last day of my vacation. I'm like, okay, cool. He goes, I want to go to the driving range with you.
Really?
I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. He goes, I want to hang out. I want to go to the range with you. I'm like, okay.
Very cool.
Okay, cool. So, I was like, let me look at my schedule, make sure I'm off that Monday. Should be later on. I hit Luis up. He said, yeah, we'll make that work. That's fine. And I'm usually off Mondays anyways. And so Saturday I was leaving. I said, okay, we're doing, you're going to hit me up, sometime during the week for playing on Monday. And he goes, or going to the range on Monday. He goes, yeah. He goes, I definitely want to go. I said, well, now you're fucked up because I'm going to probably give you a lesson. And he goes, that's what I'm hoping for.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm like, oh. So here we are, Mark. We're at this exact impasse on how do you approach it? We're talking about. I don't know if he's ever swung a club before. I think maybe he's fucked around a couple times,
right?
But it's like, where do you start? And it's funny you said about reverse engineering the swing because there's 2 places I was going to start, and then we'll go from there, and then we'll kind of get into I think we should talk about kind of the bad things that people do in this situation that are pros that would want to try to teach a lot of things that would really kind of fuck them up a lot before we get started. But I was thinking, in my mind, it would be meet them at Azusa Greens, chipping first, hopefully on that 18th green we can get out there by ourselves. And then literally I was going to, once I would really, and part of that lesson would be focusing on contact and make the chipping motion really simple, like almost a simple putting stroke with loose arms. Let them just figure it out. Tell them make sure their weight's forward, ball a little back in the stance. Try to do the easiest version. Give them just a regular pitching wedge. I maybe find a game improvement one, big fatty,
Totally.
And then really do what you said. Take them over to the range and say, okay, I want you to take the club back about 9 o'clock. Like a quarter to a third swing. Slowly, with nice rhythm, then pause, and then rotate through, do what you were doing at the chipping drill, and then get them to a full and complete finish.
Yeah.
And build it, like you said, backwards. That's what I would think if I'm going to start with somebody, I think that's where you kind of have to start.
Yeah. So, yes, I totally would agree with that. So I think just getting a basic, first of all, it's something everyone needs, a basic chipping motion that allows you to understand how the ball reacts to a hit, what just about every swing in golf is going to have your weight and body kind of stacked on your forward side. That's always going to kind of happen. That's one of the reasons when people put their feet together on a shorter swing is just so that it naturally kind of stays right there.
Yeah.
It's a trick. It works. It's really good. You should do it.
I thought starting with that, so the
Yeah.
idea of having contact while the weight is up there, it becomes the first ingrained thing. You know, does that make sense?
It totally does. And I think I would focus on ingraining a follow-through position over
Get 'em to that
anything
position,
else. Just get
and then tell 'em to
get that
do-
really good. Like if you're going to work on anything, like tweak anything, feel like get that. Once you get that, I'm like, all right, all you have to do is move the club back and then get back here. Okay, not with a ball or anything. Just do that. And okay, now let's say someone does that and they miss the ground. Okay, great. Now do the same thing, but the club has to hit the ground. And then we work on that thing. The idea being it kind of happens naturally once you understand. It also keeps you from being, it makes you more like Ryan Fox, not Patrick Cantlay. I think we talked about this. I just think the dude, Patrick Cantlay, Pat the Cat, is just thinking through his swing so hard. I think that
horrible to
paralyzes
watch.
you.
Well, it's really difficult to watch.
It is. And there's an actual bit of neuroscience that suggests that you only have so much capacity for movement, thinking about it externally, right? So if I tell you these 4 or 5 different things going back and these 3 or 4 things coming forward, you're already maxed out before you get to the ball. And that is actually what most likely causes people to just throw chunk. They've actually lost, like they're lost, like we're overloaded and we're just trying to now save everything. As opposed to going, I don't want you to have any thoughts going back. I don't give a shit what it looks like. What I do care about is this position forward. Because if you get that position forward correct on any swing, the rest of it actually really does take care of itself. And then you can talk about, whatever that is, how someone naturally does that. Then you can go, okay, look at the ball flight and go, all right. Then you give them a problem to solve. All right, get into the same position, but I want the ball to go lower, and just see what they do. Don't give them a bunch of things to do, because that's not how people learn.
No, I was going to tell them even, hey, listen, the only thing that matters right now with you, I don't even want you doing any more of a swing than enough to give you enough momentum so that you're going through this 3 to 4 inch zone where you're impacting the ball. And that's the most important thing. And that's the only thing I want you to focus on, and getting that feeling for what the strike in the middle of the face feels like.
Yeah.
And starting there. And it's like you said, because with what I read is that if the human mind basically cannot handle 1 or 2 things before it starts losing focus and they become diminishing returns. So if you have 3 thoughts in your mind, what is, say maybe it's like starting the club, with the club face closed, make sure you rotate through, and lean the shaft. Say those are the 3 things. Well, you're going to do 33% of all those things well, because your brain can only handle 1 thing at a time if you're going to try to improve something.
Yeah.
So you're not improving anything. You're actually you're better off focusing on 1 thing at a time. So that's why I thought I'd start with him. That makes sense.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, learning contact, kind of learning how the ball reacts, low, high, all those things, really great right there. And then the other thing is that the research suggests that you should have a command thought, not an that overreaches what you're saying. So if it was,
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I have part of my whole pre-shot routine includes that.
Yeah,
every time.
It has to be and it's very much so when there's something really close. Like I was at the range over by us at Eden over here, and it's got an oil tank, an old oil barrel about 50 yards away. Okay, I'm like, all right, so that's about 50 yards away. I know it is, but I'm just looking at it and feeling what I think that speed is, and then I go, okay, hit tank. And that's all that I'm doing. I want the ball hit tank. So all I'm doing is say, just hit a tank. And then sometimes I go, well, hey, I want to hit a draw there. I want to hit, to get target with something. You can do, it can be, but as a command, I want to hit it's a 50-yard draw, if that was a thing. It's not really a thing. But whatever it is, like I want that to be high and soft. I want to drive it. I'm telling myself something I want to do, not how to do it. That is very important. It can't be a how-to. Like keeping the face somewhere, that's a how-to. That will that'll cause you to be paralyzed on a tee. And also, I was listening to Hunter Mahan was doing a podcast with McLaughlin, the short game chef.
Mm-hmm.
And Hunter said something really interesting. His college coach said 90% of all bad swings happen before you even start the swing. Like he's like, if you're not committed, if you don't have a very singular focus, you're toast. You're done.
Yeah,
like
you're screwed.
The idea that it's going to go well is horrific. And that's 100% of the time for most amateurs. They're the inverse of a pro. A pro doesn't have any, pros that play fast, especially, don't have any of those thoughts in their head.
So,
there's really talented people that can do it, but that's not me.
The best shot I ever hit, I've talked about it many times, 13 at Sandpiper, over a forced carry on a par 5 and an elevated green that looked like it was sitting out in the fucking ocean. Big giant bunker in front of it. My son talked me out of bailing out to the left, and we got a little mini caddy argument because I didn't want to go for it because it was like a 6-iron
awesome.
away. It was like 165 yards uphill, and you had to hit the fucking shot. It was like 155 to cover. And I adopted this pre-shot routine a long time ago, and I still do it. And it has made these shots possible. And every really good focus shot I have, is always when I lean into this routine the most. So it's a breathing routine. So as I start off standing behind the ball. I'll usually be working my left hand into the grip and moving the club up and down and trying to find a target line. I then find an immediate target line for the target I want. And then my focus goes to that. And I'll look up when I'm over the ball one more time to make sure I feel like I'm square to where I want my start line to be. But most of my focus is now between my ball and that intermediate target I've picked that's usually about 4 or 5 feet away from the ball. Leaf, blade of grass, whatever the fuck it is. And then I start a breathing routine. It's real simple. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Slow, steady. Almost the tempo of the swing I'm trying to put on. Like I said, the more I lean into this, the more it works. And then my last breath in, I take a breath in, and I say on the way out loud under my breath, I've been caught doing this by people beforehand. They hear me say something. I think my brother heard me say something like fucking funnier and shit. Something like, he couldn't believe I said it, but it's whatever it is. Sometimes it's just tempo.
Yeah.
But I exhale, say tempo, and then I set and I go. And I've been doing that for the longest time. And like more I lean into that routine where I'm just focused on one, not even task, but something that's related to the swing, the better the result is. 100% of the time. It's proven to work.
It is. The research is that way. When you hear pros talk about things, they talk in these kind of conversations. This is how they become very good at golf, is that they're very target focused. But there was an interesting thing, and I think it was Short Game Chef said this, and he was talking about his chipping. It was like he does teach like a very, generally speaking, his low chip is a putting stroke. It's like a putting motion. It really is. And I think that, by the way, is not a bad way to chip. But he said something. Have you ever seen somebody chunk a putt? And it was funny, and it was to make his point, but I thought of it a little deeper. I said, well, the reason no one really mishits putts is that they're focused on a target. If you're good at putting, either you're looking up and looking at a target, or your thought is the cup is X number of feet away, and has you have a target in mind. And the reason you don't chunk it is because all you have is a target, and suddenly you react to the target. And no, I've never seen anybody chunk or even thin, a putt. Now, it's a less complicated, lower effort swing. I get all that stuff, but there's still, it's got, high mechanical value. It does take some coordination. And the fact that you do it without thinking and you just like knock it there is because, well, you have a target. You've let your mind do something really good at, which is organize shit. So you just have to let it do that. And that's kind of the secret and underlying thing about all this research and what we wrote. And it flies in the face of like the kind of like lessons I've gotten and others that we know have gotten. And it bumps me out because the reason I started this article was a conversation we had about the subreddit, about what the suggestion was for getting better. And one of them was like kind of the offhand thing, get a lesson.
Get a lesson.
Just get a lesson. And I'm like, I don't think that's what I would say anymore, to be honest.
See,
I mean, in without qualifying it, without going like, here's, and kind of what this article is about is like kind of understanding what you should be looking for, what I think would be more beneficial for you. And that's why I give you the research and the resources. But, I mean, because I've had bad lessons.
Yeah.
Our buddies have had bad lessons.
Yeah.
You've had good lessons.
Yeah, no, I've had good lessons. Ryan had a horrible lesson where he went to I will not name the company because it's not nice.
No, it's not nice, and not everyone at that company sucks.
Yeah, exactly. I got fit at that company, and my fitter did a great job. But he got set up with the wrong kind of a young guy coach and wanted to teach him like the million different positions story. And I saw that, and this is the story I was going to tell you, that me and my brother were having lunch at Glendora Country Club, and we're sitting here watching this lady, and she shows up because of the deck where they have the outdoor seating for the restaurant sits right over the driving range. So we're sitting there, we're watching this lady walk up, and she's like, I see her swinging. She just, looks like it's a very beginner swing. She's just trying to put the ball, and she's, hitting it down there. She wasn't hitting a ton of bad shots or anything like that. Ooh, excuse me.
No worries.
But, oh, man. Oops. And, but she looked like she's just kind of doing the warming up thing. And then a guy came out there, Mike was like, oh, that's one of the pros. And he proceeds to give her this lesson. And I'm watching this lesson, and I told my brother after about 15 minutes, I'm like, are you watching this? And he's like, yeah. And Michael's not like us. He's not like golf nerdville.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he knows golf enough. And he was doing the whole slow motion swing through all the in to out positions. And not once, Mark, not once during the whole lesson, which went on for more than a half hour, did she ever hit a ball at full swing? Did she ever hit a ball at half swing? Did she ever hit a ball?
Right.
And then every now and then she hit like few balls, and he was like trying to. I can see he's trying to explain to her, you got to go inside to out. If you go out to in the way you're going, you could see it the way he was like directing her club head, and it was like making her worse. It was objectively making her worse. I mean, that's like putting so many swing thoughts in her head that she's not even going to be able to function. So it was like, it just blew me away. It's like, and I really had the feeling looking at it that she came to the lesson like, I don't know anything. I'm just trying to figure this out. And I'm like, God, how much more time better would it have been for her to spend like doing a little bit of research and not going down the YouTube rabbit hole of swing thoughts and swing ideas and all this. Yeah. But I do have a thought on that in a second. But just like doing some research just to like tell you like how to like show up and be properly prepared to learn the sport. Does that make sense?
It totally does. And that sounds like a really great example of some other thing that it's not in the article because I thought we would talk about it on our podcast. But a lot of people that are teaching pros are people that have been golfing since they were small. They were pretty damn good. They didn't make it on tour, or they still want to, but they haven't. And so they're a gifted athlete. trying to explain something they do very naturally. And they've learned, they know all the positions, they've learned all that. They have gone through this kind of like indoctrination to what a golf swing is. But they have no concept of how to actually instruct it or explain it so that it becomes the athletic reaction that they have. They don't, that's not, and they most likely, by the way, weren't taught that way. That's the other thing. Good players generally aren't taught that way anyway. But I do blame, as an aside, I do blame the Sony camera, the VHS camera, for taking us into a very, that and Tiger Woods took us into a symmetry,
very visual
quest.
thing.
Yeah, and it stopped it being about like, the real things, like what you feel coming down is real. Feel is real. That's the other interesting tidbit. So it's not in this one either. But it is. Like if you feel like you're pulling down, whether it looks like that or not, you are. That's like kinetic force too. Anyway, go.
Yeah, it goes back to how I told you I wouldn't look at my swing anymore because my numbers say right now I'm 3 to 5 into out. I'm attacking angle -3 to 0, either nothing or hitting down on it. Nothing's like closer to long iron fairway wood, as you would expect. But everything my numbers show that I should have this swing that looks like Sergio Garcia. It does not. It actually looks a lot like the swing I've always had. My backswing looks different. My backswing looks different because I don't take the club inside and fan it out as much. I definitely take the club and get it over my head, and the club face stays closed, and you can see, my lead wrist stays bowed. And now we're getting into the nerd things, but these are the things that you eventually want to learn. But my downswing and my follow through, I look at it, I'm like, that's the same fucking shit. But I've learned how to manipulate the club to produce the result that I'm getting, which is hitting a nice little draw with my irons and the straight ball with my driver, and I'm playing, I think, really decent golf right now. I'm really kind of happy with how I'm playing. So I was good to go back to the thought about like, okay, if we have this Andrew, we got Andrew,
right?
Here he is.
Yeah.
What do we do with him? And I'm like, what do I do with him? And I said, well, I'm not going to see him for over a week, and I want to give him something to work on or at least look at. And I found this video, Mark. It's on YouTube. It's Golf Swing Basics, Golf Lessons for Beginners, Part 1. It's old. It's from 2022. New 9 Golf, Brandon Cubitt is the guy that does it. And it's a little hokey, and it's a little silly, and the pro that's in its outfit makes me want to fucking, like, poke my eyes out and stab out my mind's eye, because it's like, oh, my God. But they go through this video, and it's called GASP, his concept on GASP. And he's like, this is what every beginning golfer should know before they show up to even at the course. And I watched the video, and he's like, this is 100% right. And I said it to Andrew. So GASP is very simple. Grip, aim, stance, posture.
Yeah.
And it's a very good video. I think it's like maybe 12 minutes long to show you how to properly hold the club, how to properly set up for aim, how to have a stance, and how to have the proper posture, and a couple little tricks on how to do it. You don't have to swing a club. You don't have to hit a ball. You don't have to do anything. You don't even have to have a club. You can have a stick and figure it out. That's why I was like, he's going out to he's going camping for the next 6 days. He can find a stick out there to go fucking, and it's great, dude. I'll put a link up to it. Like I said, texted Andrew. I said, dude, this is a little hokey, a little stupid. I said, but if you could figure these 4 things out before I see you a week from Monday, we'll be able to have more fun so much more fast. So that was the kind of stuff I was kind of talking about, like, how people are going to go out and I want to learn to play golf, and you just show up and you don't know any of that. And so now that if you get an instructor and you got to pay him $100 to show you how to do those 4 most basic things before you can even swing the club, this is the shit I was talking about. It's like, how do you get this information to these newbies out before they go out on the course?
Well,
that's when I found this video. I'm like, oh man, I had to send it over, and it was really cool. I thought it was perfect.
It is, and so those are like the things you just kind of have to have so you can like control the golf club, like the club in the face, and so You have to give a good grasp. You kind of have to understand how to aim, and you have to understand that. And after that, it's about not trying to teach a motion, teach an outcome, right?
Exactly. That's why I think going back to what we were saying earlier, just starting with chipping or after working on that, say, okay, just do a little backswing, do that same kind of chipping motion where you just get your weight up front, and then let's try to get up all the way to the top and hold this position. And then working backwards from there, I think that's so much more valuable for learning how to swing.
It is. And then so there's like one of the techniques we discuss in the article is differential, right? So if you, and Adam Young's a big proponent of this. And
I was even looking at that book. It's like, maybe I buy this book too.
Yeah, that it's
the
great.
Practice. What is it? The
practice
guide? The
manual
practice
or something like that.
Something practice manual or practice guide.
It's
Adam Young,
good no matter
book.
what it is. It's great. So he's really big on, if you aren't hitting the center, well, learn how to hit, the toe and the heel, and then that's proven research. That's how that works. If you want to learn how to hit the ball straight, you learn how to hook it and fade it, like to open and close control the face. Like face control is about, you kind of stop. You can't think about face control. You have to understand it on a very intuitive level. So you have to just go, just the thought is, I'm going to just hit it as far right or left as I can from a neutral stance. You're not using your stance to create something. That's like an advanced thing to do, which is great. But you just have to understand where the face is in space. And that's the only thing in space you really have to understand is where that is, because that's what matters, right? So I'm teaching my little nephews went out and did, mini putt-putt golf, and they've never really done any of this before. I said, all right, that's cool. And I saw them, they're kind of doing their thing. And I said, all right. And they're having a little trouble with, speed and different things. I said, okay, that's cool. How about this? Guys, give me just 2 minutes. Take the club. All right. And see how the face is? That's aim. Okay, so if I point it this way, it goes that way, and so on. That's really important. So you have to know how to aim it. So kind of where, understand where your hands are and where the club is. Cool. All right, so now just brush the little like rubber pads where you were going to start the.
Yep.
I said just don't take the ball out of the way and just brush the pad. Okay, and there's a little dot. It was cool. It was meant to kind of tee up the ball so it wouldn't roll. Said, see that thing right there? I just want the club head to brush through that. Cool. Okay. They did that a little bit. I said, okay, now brush it to the right, brush it to the left. And then I said, okay, now we have a ball. Now, do you know where you want it to go? Yeah. Okay, just brush it there. And by the time we were finished, they were hitting really good shots. But I didn't tell them any positions. I didn't tell them any of that. I didn't tell them. I just said, hey, this is how the face works. You got to brush it. And once you understand that, and, okay, where the face goes, the ball goes. Okay. And, yeah, they didn't hit it. At the first, they still were hitting, clunky shots. But by the end, they were hitting some good shots. Yep. And it's just allowing them to organize it. Here's the tools. Organize it. And it's a small shot, so you don't need to know anything about being stacked, anything about these technical things. And honestly, you don't need to know that. That's why giving someone a finish position where it's all there, as long as they know that space, they can get back to it. We're really good at that. You don't have to tell them anything. The less you have to tell somebody, I think the better, to be honest.
So we kind of did a long covering of your number one thing of 3 ways to learn golf swing, which is reverse chaining specialist. Well, that's actually essentially what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And there's great links in Mark's article to read more about that. Constraints led and ecological dynamics coaches. Man, this is an amazing topic. Or title to a topic is wow. But for something that's actually really simple, so it's just basically over what my dad always said. He was like, in golf you over exaggerate everything.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to like get a good tempo down, you take the club back slower in hell, and you bring it through slower, way slower than you think you should, and then the opposite happens, and you swing faster. So that's kind of is that idea in a nutshell?
Very much so. So a constraint of your environment will help you organize what you want to do, right? And these things where you give yourself tasks that are simple, focused, and actionable so that you can do it. Again, you wouldn't run like this or anything. You wouldn't do these athletic things like that and be able to react to it. So someone, you know, like a great example, I think, is the classic. So someone's coming over the top, okay? And that's a really tough thing for you as a golfer to understand, because if you're coming over the top and it's not what you want to do, it means that you don't have an understanding of the space. And so you don't know you're doing it. So because you don't know you're doing it, it makes it very difficult for somebody to get you to stop. But if I put something in the way of you doing that, like an alignment stick or something where like it's not going to hurt you, but you don't want to hit it in the way of that move, you pretty quickly will figure out how to not do that. Now, I didn't tell you anything. I didn't give you a bunch of ideas to think about. I didn't tell you to try to learn how you move in space, right? I just told you, don't hit that.
Yeah. Well, that's the obstacle is the way idea.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things when I went and got fitted with Larry at Golf Tech. You know, I was like inside, and so I kept coming over the top, and he's like, "Here, let's just do this." And he had this pool noodle that went on a rack that I bought. I have in my backyard. I use it every now and then.
Yeah.
And it's a little half pool noodle, and you just put it out over the impact zone, a little behind it, and it just sits at an angle. And if you come over the top, you'll hit it. You're not going to hurt yourself. You're not going to hurt your club. You're not going to hurt the thing. It's just a pool noodle. But all you have to do is just get your path underneath it. And man, that was one of the things, you know, until I got the Pro Sender, that was the main thing I used. Then now I use a Pro Sender, which kind of accomplishes the task in a little better way because the obstacle becomes on you instead of external. It's almost internal. If that makes sense.
It does. No, so yes, it is external, but it creates an internal change. So I am really a big fan of all the things that Sean Foley puts together. I saw another one he has, which I thought was brilliant, and it did a different version of that. It allowed you to understand how to be really rotational in the swing, and that's if you get very rotational. So here's a very interesting thing. So if you say, I want to have this rotational finish, a very rotated finish, I want to have this really getting to the left finish. To hit a ball at all well, you can't flip or you can't do the things that you're probably trying not to do. So if I said, this is a classic, you're flipping down at the bottom of the ball, or you have a flip in your swing, like your release is too early. Okay,
you're dry humping the ball.
You're dry humping the ball. Yes, all these things. Yes. Now, if you want to dry hump something else,
when you early release and you flip and you tend to like move your hips towards the ball.
It's a goat, classically known as goat humping.
Yes.
So anyway, so you're that's good.
2 humps.
So all those things
they're better than one.
They are, but here's the thing: if you just focus like what I'm going to do. As you know, the downswing is going to be about me just rotating as far left as I can possibly get, or whatever that version of that is. Your brain knows that if I release and flip early, it's going to go like 5 miles left.
Yeah.
So what you end up doing is doing the thing you're trying, But if I told you how to do that with like something about your wrist, you'd crash and burn. You wouldn't be able to do it. But if I give you like, okay, have this like really, like one of my favorite swings on YouTube is George Bryant. Watch his follow through. Watch how he swings. He will never have a problem with early release or anything because there's no way he can and find the golf course.
Yeah, right.
Like he puts him in a position where he can never do it And you watch him, he never does. That dude might go right, but he never goes left. And that's what that move does. So when you kind of understand, if you give yourself a destination thing to do, it can't be at the ball, and depending on what the size of the swing is, it can be past it. What you're doing is allowing yourself just to figure it out. It solves itself. And that's what like the pool noodle, that's what the pro sender, that's what, these things do. You just solve it. And that's incredibly valuable.
Right. And then the last part of the instructors that we like, that we're looking for, and then we'll wrap it up about, we'll do external and task-oriented instructors, which you already touched on with Adam Young. If you're hitting it off the heel, try to hit it off the toe. If you're hitting it off the toe, try to hit it off the heel. I tell you, I've had people ask me, I was on a range at Duarte once, and this guy started shanking. He goes, "What causes that?" I said, "Well, you're hitting it off the heel." And I said, "Try to hit it off the toe." And he tried, and he tried. And by the third time, he goes, "Oh, it vibrated and went left." I'm like, "Perfect. Do that 3 more times, and then try to hit in the middle." And he was like, 10 minutes later, he was like, "Thank you, man." He goes, "That actually worked." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, just if you're doing one thing, you got to know what it is. And then once you recognize it, you got to adjust and try to go the complete opposite way and work back towards the middle." And Adam Young's, that, again, the practice manual, there it is right there on your website.
There it is.
In your article, it's sitting right there. But really, really good. If you guys want to look into that, especially for differentials, definitely.
Yeah.
That guy's really, really a stud.
Oh, he absolutely is. Dr. Luke Benoit actually he's coming out with a book, because I saw him on the Mark Immelman podcast, and that's a great podcast.
Okay, cool.
And he kind of got me focused. Like some of this is like me listening to him talking about all the new learning and like how you learn. And like his thing, a lot of his stuff is like work without a ball. And I've seen, super interesting. And then you hear some things, and then you remember something else you've seen. Like I remember being on a range, and was this like LPGA like future star girl. She's like, and she had an amazing swing. And the whole time I was like, sculling and chunking golf balls, trying to figure this out. All she was doing was taking a backswing and then hitting a very specific spot on the mat and coming through. And it was a fluid motion. It wasn't like she was stopping, but she was just practicing hitting a spot, being like in an impact position in a full fluid chain. And so that it was so like she knew exactly where that was. And she did it without a ball. And like towards the end of the session, I saw her hit one. I was like, "Oh my God." It's because she had
it.
Yeah, she had practiced that position, like where it is in the space of that swing, so much that there was no reason to think about it. It just happened.
Yep.
And that was super huge. Like all these things, like there's a lot of great information about getting better. That's pretty simple, actually. And, with the right people to look at or to help, or also this is one of those things, like if you go to a lesson, and part of having a lesson is getting, it's kind of a first date, right? Mm-hmm. And you have somebody that starts talking to you about external swing points and wants to talk about the 3 or 4 positions of the backswing. I'm not saying run, but be concerned if they don't quickly get out of that and start talking about something, because I don't think it's going to benefit you. I think you're going to have the lady that goes, "Well, I was confused when I started this. I'm more confused now." And they wonder why she's not getting any better.
My final thought on all of this, and then I have a fun thing to wrap up with, Mark.
Sweet.
Different topic. But my final thought on all this is I think it's very important that not only, like we've talked about before, and if you go to Mark's articles and go read through them and really be thoughtful about it, there's a lot of great links and information that's going to point you in the right way. But even like the video I talked about, preload yourself to be ready to learn about your hobby. And then at the same time, if you decide to get a lesson, say you've learned like the basics, how to hold the club, how to, like I said, grip, aim, stance, posture, if you got those things down and you feel like you can swing the club through impact to hit the ball in the center of the face, and now all of a sudden you want to take a lesson, and you go to take a lesson, and in your gut you feel like it's just not right, feel free to bounce.
Yeah.
Don't buy a package of lessons. Go for a one-time, and it's like you just said, it's a date. It's a first date.
Totally a first date.
It may be great, but it may be you don't want somebody that's going to instill swing thoughts into you. You're going to want somebody that's going to take what you're doing and improve it.
So I have one more thing to say on that. And I was listening to Butch Harmon talk. And Butch Harmon, only 2 players he have the same swing. And it's Tiger Woods and Adam Scott. And the only reason Adam Scott does is because his father saw Tiger Woods and wanted his son to have that swing. Everyone else has a different swing. And Butch Harmon doesn't change that. He sees what you do well, and then he looks to make it the best it can be. So he doesn't look at DJ's, bowed wrist and go, don't do that. He goes, all right, that's what you do well. Let's just make sure it's efficient. But because it is, he doesn't go to someone else and go, okay, now, Adam, I want you to bow the wrist.
Yeah, you need to be like,
yeah. See, he's playing better than you, so you should do that. He doesn't do that because he knows enough about the golf swing and golfers to realize, that's not what it means to be a great golfer.
yeah, exactly.
And he's the one that goes, why wouldn't you want to teach Scotty Scheffler's swing with all his feet moving around? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
He goes, look at him in impact. You look at him in impact, his feet are amazing. Like, it happens afterwards. And that's what people focus on the wrong things. And if you come across somebody who wants to teach you a certain style or this, that, I'd be concerned. Yeah. I would. Be
like
honest.
I said, if your gut says this isn't what I want, this is, the thing that people say about lessons is, oh, you're going to get worse before you get better. And that is true to a point, because I did go through a swing change, but mine had gotten really, really bad. Like my swing was essentially for what I was trying to do and where I was trying to go was out of control, and I needed lessons, and I got lucky and found the right guy.
Right.
And, he did it one step at a time. Sam was he's like, first let's fix this part of the backswing, the takeaway. And then we're going to get to the top of the backswing. And so I was in a great position for the top of the backswing, and then I stopped taking lessons from him because he put me in such a great position at the top that I was able to figure out the rest. It took a while, but I was able to figure it out. And it was really just getting to a natural athletic movement, believe it or not. And it was actually the opposite of what I was doing before. And again, my swing doesn't look. You wouldn't go, oh my God, look at the difference. But I know that the ball flight and the numbers tell me that it was the right move to make. It took a long time. We had to commit to it, but you also have to find the right guy and be willing to search for him, do the research, and learn about what you're trying to get into before you go. So you're not just walking in like all relying on whatever one person is going to tell you.
Absolutely. That's in a nutshell. It's find the right person. Know how it's good to know also how you learn. And this article might help you. It definitely point you in some directions and get some information if you want. But even if you don't read it, just again,
read it.
Scott said, thank you. Scott said, it's a first date. You don't go if we had a bad first date, you wouldn't go I want to do that again and pay for it a lot. You go,
I'm ready for paid for reach arounds.
Right? Exactly. No. So do that and play better golf, be target oriented and have fun. And now I hear we have another topic.
One quick topic. So, okay. And I'm not going to belabor this because I figure if anyone's listening to our podcast and, we try to be local, centralized to Southern California and appeal to most I know friends and family and extended friends are listening to. But, we haven't covered anything about the Open with Bryson and him, basically filling his diaper on Friday night over the fact that he assessed him a 2.2 stroke penalty. But okay, so I'm not going to go into the whole story because I'm sure anyone that's listening to this has heard about it already because we're over a week out. But there was a wrinkle to the story that I heard that I thought, I don't know if you've heard, and I want to hear your reaction.
Okay, cool.
So apparently there was still a bunch of players that had played in the morning. They were hanging around watching the players in the afternoon, which Bryson was one of. And a bunch of them were sitting around the locker room and saw what was going on, what was it, the fifth hole?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, with his tromping around and doing his thing. Now, me and Mark are both of the mind that whatever he did really gained him zero advantage either way.
We agree with Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah, and I also don't think he was doing anything quote-unquote intentional. But also at the same time, from my understanding, is the way guys are acting in situations like this has gotten a little exaggerated over time because no one's enforcing the rules, which I think is the reason he was so pissed off. It's like, why am I being enforced?
Suddenly it's me, and now, yeah. And he's not wrong about that.
No, he's not wrong. Yeah. But here's the thing. There were players watching this in the locker room. One of which was Sir Rory McIlroy. And the word on the street is Rory was nonplussed. And he may have gone to the R&A and said, you need to look at this video.
That doesn't surprise me because, dude, I'll tell you what, Bryson DeChambeau really creams his corn, man.
Yeah, I know, dude.
He does.
So, dude, the word on the street is Rory totally ratted out Bryson to the R&A. That's what, because the R&A did not enforce that at the time. He was in the scoring tent signing his card. Right. Long after, and they came up to him afterwards and were like, we were reviewing the video. It's like, well, how were you watching the video when it happened? No, but there's somebody that doesn't like you.
That doesn't like you, and we like him a lot.
And it has a lot of pull with the RNA.
Right.
Sick, Mark. That's so great, dude. Wow. So good. So I didn't think you had heard that or not. So I had to throw that out there.
But it absolutely doesn't surprise me because he is like so annoyed. Like, honestly, I think Bruce Koepka gets a lot of sweat for being like, cranky with him, not liking him. But Rory does not like him. I think Brooks is just like a different animal. But
Brooks is all a bit washed. I hate saying that because I'm a big Brooks fan, but he's a bit washed. He's having a harder time transitioning back. Bryson has a game to come back to the PGA, which he will next year because Liv is dead, and
he'll be YouTube star. Like he's
coming back to the PGA.
Probably.
No you don't take LeBron James wants to come back to your league, and you say no. Just get out of here, Steph Curry. Go fuck yourself. Yeah,
they're gonna make it happen. It's all now. It's really about negotiating.
And Liv is completely dead now. The Asia tour who Liv was walking around selling to all their potential sponsors. Oh, we're gonna have 10 international events in the Asia tour.
And
they went to the
what did Brian Rolap do? He pulled a full-on NFL move.
Yeah, he just fucking devoured them up. So Liv's dead. Bryson's gonna come back, and the thought of a Bryson Rory rivalry,
100%, dude. I mean, I was like, I want those two in a final. Okay,
yes,
I do. I really, really do. One other note of today, as we're recording today, Jackson Koiven has won his first PGA Tour event after 3 starts out of college.
Did you see that fucking shot in 17 for 309 yards out for that eagle? 309 yards on a par 5, and he fucking put it within like 15 feet. The kid is, and I've been hearing murmurs about him for a while. The guy's on shotgun start. Andy and Brendan have been talking about him for at least the last year and saying, this kid's a coming. And they were talking about him before the tournament as one of the players to watch and saying that people are like, yeah, this is, you've had your Gordon Sargents, you had your a couple of, I'm brain fried right now, a couple of the late kids, which are great kids, and there's some good ones. But this one, he may be something. He may be something.
Yes. So what I've watched him play. He played with Grant Horvat okay, which is a good video. But Grant at the time, this is when he was still in college, so this is before he turned pro. He had his card, but he hadn't turned pro yet. And Grant was like, I mean, looking at it, I think you're ranked 10th in the world if we just look at, like, where he is in his golf game. That was pretty impressive, a guy coming out of college and has that. And he's won everything, so I don't doubt it. But I've watched him play. And here's one thing I'll say. He has that, for his size, he is long. He's got a very good short game, but his putter is unreal, dude. That dude drains some big dick putts.
Yeah, he does. And tell you what, he's going to be, you can roll back the ball, you can roll back the driver. It's not going to make a fucking difference. The kid's pure talent. Yeah. You can put him out there with a fucking rake and a fucking shovel and a fucking pebble, and he's going to kick everybody's ass.
He is. No, and he is absolutely that good. It is not hype. That guy is going to start stealing lunch money. Yeah, he just did. He just did right now. There's people on the tour that are like, "What am I?"
Buried Scotty Scheffler,
dude. Scotty Scheffler
buried him. Scotty was in the clubhouse with the lead, dude, and he fucking buried him.
Oh yeah. And we'll agree that Scotty's game isn't like at its top right now, but he's still the number one in the world.
He's still number one in the world because he's still consistently in almost top 5 in almost every tournament he's in.
Right. Like, so, even when
it's not like he's not out there like fucking stepping on his dick and fucking
no, his B plus really A minus his B plus A minus game is still enough to win most weeks.
Yeah.
Not this week, and that actually was a bigger story to me.
Yeah. All right. So we have Rory telling on Bryson and a new phenom on the horizon. So, we don't talk a lot of pro golf here, but it's been kind of an interesting, fun year for pro golf. So we'll leak a little in there. So
it definitely will. It's getting more interesting too, and now that the PGA Tour and the players are with us in our defiance against any stupid rollbacks. By the way,
that's why we weren't talking about it because they're all pro rollback. We're like, okay, fuck you. We ignore you now.
Pound sand. Now they're like, they're our buddies.
Did you see it? You heard Rory in the post-round open conference, and he was like, you know what? I was just finally listening to the Holy Duffer podcast, and I just really came around about the ball rollback. They're right. I'm wrong.
Totally real. Totally happened. Go look it up.
All right, brother. I'm going to call it a night. We're just over an hour. We landed the plane right on time. That's like fucking 4 times in a row. Great podcast. We hit our points. Everybody, before I bounce out, Mark, you don't have to talk about it because I'm going to promote it because they're really good. Go to the holyduffer.com website and read Mark's articles. I mean, they may be a little deep, a little, through some of it, but it's all really good information, and the links are all there, which I thought was really a nice touch. So even if something that you're reading, maybe you don't quite understand exactly the exact technicalities that we're talking about here, you can click on it and you can find that information, and it's all really good job, Mark. Really, really, really good. I read through it, and I didn't know there was, like I said earlier, as much content as it was, and there's some really quality stuff there for beginners and people that been playing their whole life. So good job, man. And that's it for me. Good night, dude. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Strolan. As always, we appreciate that you spent time with us, and we had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. You can find us on all platforms, including Spotify and iTunes. Watch us on the YouTube channel at Holy Duffer Podcast. Follow us on Instagram at Holy Duffer. And as always, the links to all of our social media and the content we cover will be in the show notes. As always, play well, and may the fairways be with you.